Bonjour, Dixon.
Bonjour, Monsieur Borrelli.
Welcome to.
SEO.
No, it's SEO.
Conspiracy.com. Excellent. SEO. Conspiracy.com. And what are we talking about today? Oh, long form content, Laurent. Okay.
So, yes, we spoke about the myth of the 2,000 word limit that came out of some ranking factors study. But now let's talk about long form content in general. And is it better? Are there other ways?
I think that I think Google have come out very recently, haven't they, saying that they're going to be moving towards analyzing things in passages rather than just by page. And I think this is. Firstly, I thought they were already, and certainly, the whole of Inlinks has been building things around, a certain amount of. So you're talking about this on this part of the page and this on this part of the page and stuff, and Majestic has been building around topics, saying when links are surrounded by topics, and so we've been sitting there trying to break things down by page for quite a long time. So I actually, when they said we're coming out with analyzing by passage, I thought, blimey, I thought they already were, but the important thing is something may change when that comes live, because analyzing things by page, clearly making more and more and more and more words, allowed you to talk about more and more topics. And I think that was the more important factor. If you were talking about the right number of the right semantically close topics and entities on a page, then you are pretty much better answering the question, or you were better at having a sort of a needs met approach to your content. But if Google are now going to try and extract meaningful passages within long form content, it changes in some ways the importance of long form. But at the same time, I would assume that passage, so I would imagine they're going to take out a section of text and make it a rich snippet somewhere along the line, and you're going to suddenly see your questions sort of in the middle of the page or the bottom of the page suddenly popping up as being answered in the SERPs. But I would still imagine that there's going to be an overall theme for the content on the page. So I still think this topicality is going to be important. It's never been about the number of words, I don't think. It's always been about whether you're covering the topic accurately enough. And you can cover it too much and you can cover it too little. But for each topic you're trying to cover, there's a right amount, probably.
In my opinion, it's more about a minimal number of words for Google to grab on the page, which I evaluate around like 300 to 500 to give enough meat for Google. But then, like you said, the upper limit makes no sense, especially in our semantic SEO strategy, where more pages equals more links.
I can tell you from experience, actually, with Inlinks' own natural language processing algorithm, we on our sort of free tools and things, we look at the first 300 words on a page, I think, or did, and we found that 300 words on a page doesn't give as much meaning as 500 plus words. So you hit those roads, and as you said, 300 words, it kind of round off in my mind, because we tried to cut a corner by only looking at the top 300 words, and we found that we didn't get as much meaning as a bit longer text. So the longer the text, the more we can pick up the meaning. And once we've got the meaning right, then the more information then reinforces that meaning, and we get the semantic and the topic associations much more accurate. If you've got a page with only 100 pages worth of words, or 100 words in it, it becomes hard for a natural language processing algorithm to really know with some degree of confidence, whether it's about topic A or topic B, because topic A and topic B may have the same kinds of words surrounding them. So so I would agree with you that under about 300 words, it gets a little bit hard.
Now we have Wikipedia. Wikipedia.
They don't have a problem with words. There's lots of them.
They have like 10,000 word pages, and it works beautifully. The way they structure data, the way everything they do.
Yeah.
So
their structured data is so well done. So well done.
everything is remarkable on Wikipedia, the way they structure it. No, I love it. But it's Wikipedia. So they might not need a... well, if you're able to structure your content like Wikipedia and really apply that system, why not? But again, in my system, pages have a potential for links. And links is what makes content rank. It's longer content. Once you covered and we when we covered this 2,000 word limit, we came out to the agreement that yes, on average, I guess it makes sense if you want to cover well a topic that 2,000 words seems like a good average number. Okay, but like you said, certain topics only required 500 words and no need more.
Some really require only 7.
Exactly.
How many hours forward is England to Andorra? The answer is 1. There's a one-word answer, as long as it's understood the question.
And about this user intent thing, I have a good example in French with this calculatrice crédit. It's a loan calculator.
Yeah. Okay.
And the SERP, the first 6 or 7 results are just a good damn calculator. No 2,000 words, no nothing. Just perfect user intent and but just a bunch of words.
All that meaning from anchor text links into the page. Okay.
But the trend today is definitely telling people long form content is good. You need to blah blah blah, and people are investing insane amount of money.
I think that's probably why Google has started to make it public that they're going to start looking at passages of content and in treating a passage of content as a body of text in its own right almost.
You don't even know how happy I was when our friend Prag Bakar spoke about this passage in this indexing, because my game of the mystery word.
Yes, I know your game.
What's better than my mystery word game to match this passage indexing?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Prag Bakar. Thank you, Google.
What's the passage of text that you've missed here? What should that be talking about? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. For the people who missed this mystery word game, it's semantic SEO explained in one very simple game. Before, we would just repeat X number of times a word to be relevant around that word. Now, what I say is try to make people get or Google guess what is the word without using that word. So it's the mystery word game. TV shows use that, and then Pictionary and so on. And passages indexing is exactly that. And it's a new type of position 0. It will be more powerful than position 0. I think it will incite more people to click on the link from the previews I see, but we'll see the effects of it. And then also, did you watch that keynote, or you read that blog post about from Prag Bakar, Search On 2020, how AI is powering Google? And
I did, yeah. Was that the one that there was a sort of a really long form video from Google, long form video, which was really worth it reading. It's an hour long, isn't it?
No, you're talking about the recent one, how search works. No, I'm talking
how search works.
No, it's not that one. It was a keynote by like Apple style by Prag Bakar. So he was citing passages indexing. He was citing subtopics as really important. So it's not us, guys. It's the boss of Google telling you that what we are saying is the way to go. Thank you, Google. Thank you, Prag Bakar.
Yeah, yeah. Laurent Borelli and Dixon Jones will be in town all week. You know, we're not going anywhere.
It's just common sense. We didn't invent anything. It's just because we've been doing this for so long, and we felt that it was going that way. Old SEO lasted as long as it could, and just repeating the word without context worked for a while. But it's 2020, guys. It's not.
I mean, and now you're seeing that less and less in the search results. I wonder how many SEOs are still writing, you know, keyword here, keyword here, keyword here. We just don't see the results. You know, it doesn't go anywhere. So you just.
Last week I still heard someone mentioning keyword density.
Yeah, I mean it does carry on going forever, and that's not going to go away, really, is it? It's gonna. The thing is. Keyword density is it's still, yeah, it doesn't matter. Let's move away from keywords. Let's just forget keywords.
The occurrence, like the number of times a word appears, is more relevant than the ratio of the number of times with the long length. The thing is, until
you understand why you and I get so upset about it, we're a little bit semantic ourselves. I mean, so we do track topic density in our stuff. You know, what's the difference to a lay person? What's the difference between topic density and keyword density? I get that that's a semantic kind of difference. That unless somebody is going to tell us what the rules are of every kind of definition of things, then we're never going to quite agree or inform our audience as well as we should. So we should be a little bit careful here. Keywords still important. But keywords and topics, the difference should be well understood.
And entities.
Entities.
Keywords. Maybe keywords would be the commercial targets, but then it's all about topics, entities, and let's remind people that for the most part, Google interprets words as mathematical entities separated by vectors. There is a little bit of traditional language processing, but words don't mean the same thing.
So, but they tie things together. So they'll create synonyms and they'll create words together to make different entities. So, the one my pet one for the moment is. Bridge is a thing, it's an entity. Towers are a thing, they're an entity. Tower Bridge is completely different. It's a geographical location, well-known, a landmark, and it's both a tower and a bridge, but it could just as easily be neither a tower or a bridge, or the Eiffel Tower, it's not an Eiffel, even though Eiffel was a person. So these things come together, and then some of those can get quite long, and certainly an entity is made up of a bunch of different synonyms, different ways of describing the same thing, and for me, I describe an entity as a Wikipedia entry just to make life easier. I know that that's not necessarily true, but it's the way that InLink sees an entity. If it hasn't got a direct hit with a Wikipedia entity, we just decide it isn't.
I have an amazing example. I was testing out a new tool by Sylvain Perronnet, PhD in algorithms, and it's called keywords.gg. And I entered pet master versus pet owner. In French, maître, so it's master. You are the master of a pet. Well, in English, pet master is more associated with BDSM. Okay, you are like this guy carried on a leash by a woman. That's what it's more related to. So when you translate from French to English and you say pet master, that might not go so well from a semantic point of view.
I'm now gonna have to just do a content brief on see what happens when I try and go for optimize some content around Petmaster. Let's do it while I'm on the line.
And I think there's like
see if I get it right or wrong.
There's a video game called Petmaster, like for kids, but really Petmaster is a pet owner, Petmaster, video game, BDSM, blah, blah. You got to be really precise. And to go back to the topic of long form, especially the longer the content, the more difficult it is to really be precise. And going back to this first 500 words, that's what I tell my clients. I'm like, first 500 words, you need to be like right on with this mystery war game, or you need to put all this context right there. The rest of the content will be a lot more difficult to optimize if you want to. So when you put the entire block of text into a tool to analyze, like a semantic analysis tool, you won't get a good score, and then you will overdo it. You will over optimize.
Yeah.
Just analyze the beginning, and then
I think that makes a huge amount of sense. Yeah. So I think those the start of a piece of text, yes, it frames the rest of the text massively. I think so. Yeah.
So yeah, use wisely those tools, and to answer simply the question, long form content. It does not make any sense, in my opinion, that it's about user intent, it's about the relevancy, it's about does it match what Google wants, and that length of content debate is
you can see how long form content got the
it makes sense
how SEOs kind of went there. It's a whole correlation is not causation issue, isn't it? Long form content does seem to have more meaning in it. If you're going to spend a whole book describing a subject, then of course you're going to know it better than if you try and get it in 300 words. So that does tend to happen, but it's not because it's long.
But I'm not worried about the agencies or the big clients. I'm worried about the people who want to make a little money with affiliate links and so on, and they're spending tons and tons of money, most of their money, into those huge pieces of content. And again, it's not because a lot of long form content rank well on Google that you will rank well if you produce a long piece of content. It's just not the way it works.
My feeling is it's about the topics that you cover and whether they're isolated and specific to the
I don't think I made you this comparison. Where is it? See, I'm multitasking right now. I got four notebooks going at once. One notebook equals one project. so look at, before, old school SEO was about keywords. Today it's about entities, topics, clusters, silos, project. Blah, blah. Before it was about search volume. Now it's about relevancy. Before it was about keyword research. Now it's about audience. Oh, we spoke about this, audience analysis. Now I remember, because you corrected me on audience analysis, but I forgot what you said. What is the correct way to explain how you analyze the audience?
Segmentation.
Yes, that was it. Audience segmentation. And before it was about backlinks. Now it's more about engagement around the links. So just going back to that, remember that, and that's SEO for Google Discover. That's semantic SEO, but that's SEO for predictive search. That's the future of search. It's 2020.
I'm just gonna say to sort of round things off on my inlinks thing. I did analyze the phrase Petmaster. I'm glad to say that we don't think it's particularly about BDSM. We did a whole thing recently about topic mapping, actually, which was kind of interesting, because mapping topics in context is something we've made easier on our end, on our system. But you can, when you go down and have a look at your competitors that are ranking for a particular keyword and you extract the different topics, it is really interesting to see which topics relate to, say, business, and which ones relate to clothing and advertising and stuff, and then throw away the ones that are not relevant to your answer, to your meaning. You're going to get a lot better kind of quality of visitors if you don't try and be all things to all people. And if you just map the topics that are specific to your world, then you're going to get better. And also you can then achieve that with a shorter content. You don't need so much content if you're talking about the right things instead of trying to talk about everything.
Yeah, I just Googled.
Sorry, I just babbled on there.
No, you're right, because I just Googled Pet Master and it's showing up the game. But then if I Google Pet Master BDSM, then I get the the human the human pet thing.
It's worked you out at that particular point. All right.
No, it's interesting how it goes back to once you get into those, I guess, bad, what Google calls bad neighborhood.
Yeah.
They are careful, especially here where there's a game for kids that's very close to something that's not for kids at all.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think they've got to be confident that you're definitely, and the BDSM word is clearly an adult word, and so that's fine. It's flipped you over, and that's yeah, we kind of use that sort of thing to work out whether it's something's user intent. Well, we don't think about it in a sex context, but whether somebody's looking for information, or whether somebody's looking for a transaction, or whether somebody is looking for a review, or these kind of things. We kind of categorize those. And BDSM is a lovely little keyword that says this person is looking for sex.
And that's why, like you said before, it's alive, meaning before the game appeared, maybe it was all about BDSM because there was nothing else. Then the game appeared, and I guess it's a pretty successful game because it took over the other definition. On the same semantic analysis tool, I searched for cannabis, marijuana, and I saw that all the US, as far as the location, geolocation, the countries, Jamaica and Holland were nowhere to be seen. It was all about those states in the USA who legalized marijuana. So it's how also, it's moving on, and the world changes, and
and so people, does the algorithms.
So all the algorithms adjust. Very interesting, because you can. The last advice on this is, if you do it properly, you can create your own associations. Like Dixon Jones was associated with backlinks, with link building. Now Dixon Jones becomes associated with the semantic. And
if I can reinvent myself.
And it will happen because it's Dixon is doing the work.
Let's hope so. Okay, guys. I guess your time is up again. So better move on. So I don't know what we're talking about next time. Should we just give it for a surprise for next time?
We will leave it open for next time. So it'll be a surprise.
We'll say goodbye, guys. Thanks very much for coming along today.
Thank you.